think that's it. And there's a button over here that does a thing. Hey there, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be in your part of the world.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
There we go. It's so good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today, what day is today? Today is the 11th of January, 2024. We're going to write a little bit of code today. How you doing there, chat room? My gosh, it's a little bit quiet today, not going to lie. Do I not have? I don't have the YouTube view up over here. Hang on, we're going to open the YouTube because that's the way things go. Hello.
Screech Rat just resubscribed for
Screech
44
Rat.
months. Woohoo. Another month. Another donation to a good cause.
Yes, I still haven't done my research. I was so busy in meetings yesterday. I got wrapped up and I didn't have a chance. Crumbs, I didn't even have a chance to finish the new episode of C# in the cards. So we will be making a donation to a charity. I will announce it. We're going to make our final donation to the American Cancer Society when the payout comes here early next week. So we're continuing in JARMuary. We're programming on ARM-based devices all month long. So I have my Windows ARM device here. I wanted to get over on a Mac today, but I was behind and I just didn't have time to get things set up and ready to go, and I didn't want to spend another stream just getting things set up. Blazor.
Okay, just resubscribed
There
for
we go.
19 months.
19 months. Thank you so much. I'll make another donation to a charity. Much appreciated. Let me head over. Let's bring in the chat room. They're right over there. We're broadcasting live to Twitch and YouTube, so you will see messages going back and forth from the Restream bot. If you're on YouTube, you'll see messages in the live chat over there. It's right on the side, just to the right of this, right next to where the Twitch folks are seeing chat as well. So Jeff's hat stand is here, of course. Look at that. Trying to find a nice hat. I got my Broad Street built hat on today. Our Philadelphia Flyers did quite well last night against those always tough Montreal Canadiens. New defender Jamie Drysdale. Looks like he's going to be a great contributor to the team. So, yeah, so many hats to choose from. You're right. High-tech redneck, hello. Might is such a wishy-washy word, but usually as a kid typically meant no. You'll see. There might be shenanigans today. How you doing there, Warm Peas? And, of course, Screech Rat is here. Chris Jones, bless I. Hello, hello. Welcome. Good afternoon to you. I did some more tweaking and tuning of the content of the website. Hey, Lou the Crow, the website for C# in the cards. That's the new series that we've started to teach the basics, the very basics of C#. And we've got some ideas. We've got a little bit of push to go back and go back on the .NET channels and do the very basics of Blazor with .NET 8. And in some of the meetings I was in yesterday, we're talking about getting that on the schedule. So that is coming. I don't have any immediate plans, but we're planning. We're putting that together and figuring out what exactly we want to do with that. So we're converting with Blazor today on stream. We've got basics of C# with C# in the cards, and then we're going to do basics of Blazor with .NET 8 over on the .NET channels, probably starting sometime in February. We'll see. I wanted to show you. Let me show you some of the updates that I put in for the C# in the cards website. I have it here on the Windows machine, so we'll take a look at that real quick. The long and short of it is, as I add more episodes, I need a good way to make it more searchable, to make it a little bit more navigatable, and taking advantage of some things that are kind of native to C# and ASP.NET Core made this really easy to do. So let me show you. I'm going to open Solution Explorer over here and get that pinned. And let me show you what we did over here, and I'll get some music playing in the background. Of course, I like the Stream Beats Synthwave playlist. Let's start with this one, Into the Night. That's not the right background. I still have the other thing on. Hang on. Boop. There we go. Now there's code. This is music that's DMCA free, royalty free. Listen to it wherever you'd like. Check it out at streambeats.com. Big thanks to their team of creators for writing this music we're listening to today. Go ahead, it's going to pick up this hat. Or maybe it won't. Or maybe I was. It is a little bit further back on my head, a little bit harder to pick up. Oh, come on now. It didn't even take a new picture on that one. Yeah, there it is. 55% certainty that it's my Broad Street built hat. So this is referencing the Philadelphia Flyers. How you doing there? Is it Iranet? Hello. Welcome in from South Africa. So I've got my gunner glasses on. Let me show you just a little bit of what I did to add. Robots text was real easy to add. It just sits in your dub root folder here. And I told it, don't look at my posts folder where the raw data is. Don't index that. But here's where the sitemap is. And a sitemap for the C# and the cards website is always going to include pointers to the content for the lessons. So how do I generate that on the fly? Well, right on request. So here's what I did. I added a minimal API to do this. Like, why not? It's just a handful of lines of code. Earl. Got it. I will remember that. How you doing there, Earl? So for a sitemap, I want to output XML content. And I want to put it in cache. So instead of having it written to disk or anything like that, let's generate something and put it in cache. And the sitemap doesn't update unless new content is deployed. So cache it forever. Like, you're never going to forget this. Just leave it out there and always get it out of cache. And I have a method called build sitemap that I wrote into my posts repository. So I already have a property here called posts that knows how to get posts from disk. And the posts are just a CSV file sitting out there. I'm not fancy here at all. Just write a CSV file, load them up, and away it goes. I don't need a database. Just write them out there. And I literally am handcrafting the XML because this is easy to do and I don't have to think about it. So the index page updates when there's a new post. I put together a lessons page that lists here's all of the lessons. Well, that updates when there's a new post, when there's a new lesson. I put an about page out there with about information about me, and right now I hard coded it. I could look up the last modified date for this or something. Doesn't matter. I'll hard code it for right now. A list of materials, and I hard coded that date, and then I just wrote a for loop to generate these elements. Now, I could do some sort of serialization of this, but why? With a string builder that's going to sit out there and be cached forever, it runs once, takes 100 milliseconds, 200 milliseconds, and then never runs again. So you've done it the hard way and made C# generate robots in sitemap. If I had a complex application, I might do something like that, but I don't. You know? So, right, if we navigate to C# in the cards.com/sitemap XML, and I'm going to open the network tab here so we can see. Right, took 208 milliseconds to generate that. And refresh 23 milliseconds. Like double-digit milliseconds to just pull it out of memory and put it on the page. Fine. Don't care. That's all I need. Hey, Sleventh Heaven. That's right. Keep it simple. Sometimes you can over-engineer things. I've got 5 pages in this website. So, right, hard code the 4 here, and the areas that are generated, fine, we'll take that dependent piece of data and mark it. And then for those extra pieces, we'll just do a for loop over and output it. Done. Easy. So the website's out there. I've been tracking. I have Google Analytics on it so I can watch traffic. and see how it's doing. I've been watching the playlist to see how folks are watching it. Viewership is picking up. It's I need to generate and get content flowing, have a base of content so that it becomes a little bit more of a reference and folks start searching and finding and discovering a little bit of that content. I did spin up the Bing Webmaster Console, the Google Webmaster Console, or what do they call it, Search Console, to see how those are performing and make sure that the site is properly indexed and whatnot. And it looks like it is. They're all reading the sitemaps. They all, both websites are looking at and they see the sitemaps. Google is starting to show some impressions. So 77 impressions so far. Here are the search terms that are finding me. Jeff Fritz is finding C# in the cards the most right now. My name is in the description, but learn C#, that's good that we're appearing in there. Hours of operation, I don't know why that's finding me. But fundamentals of C# programming, learn C#, C# in, so that's good. It's a start. We're getting somewhere. So I'm not gonna go off the deep end trying to make sure that I'm the top searchable entry here. It hasn't really found the other pages yet. It's only discovered the one page, and it's not. It is not indexing the non-SSL version, so, but it does see my sitemap and it is indexing and keeping that up to date. So, good on HTTPS. No data on the core web vitals. It was reporting. It was coming back and saying things like, where is it? There were tools, not the web tools. I thought it was coming back and saying, oh, well, you need to trim down your CSS and a couple other things. Like, all right, we'll get there. But it's a start for a website that's been live for maybe a week and a half. All right, it's fine. Bless Eye says you're going to follow the series even after 20 years of C# programming. Notice I'm missing some of the new stuff, syntax. So the next episode coming out is getting started with strings. So string interpolation, string formatting, string manipulation, real string literals. The triple quote is part of this next one. So I need to finish writing this and make sure I have all the content in it that I want. And that I'm looking at my schedule today, and it is jammed. It might end up being tomorrow that I get that published. So, is it hosted on Azure? Yep. So, and I don't mind showing that. I'll go to portal azure.com so you can take a look at it. Daniel, how you doing there? Asks, let me put that message up on screen because that is a fine question to ask that I want to make sure we cover here. I'm, of course, using featured.chat, a great website built by our friend Sleventh Heaven there. There we go. Is it still a good time to go with web dev? Absolutely. As long as there's a website, a World Wide Web, there's a need to build websites. And the thing with building websites, folks always want updates, new styles, new look and feel, things modernized, right? There's a certain amount of fashion and advertising and art to building websites that creative folks and in the larger non-technical community want to see change and advance in websites. So there's always going to be a need for web developers because after 30 years of World Wide Web, can you believe the web's been around for more than 30 years? 1993, 94. you're gonna see, yeah, there's the web isn't going anywhere. It's a staple. It's a accessible framework and tool set that anybody anywhere can use with any device. So, very accessible, and that's a key thing here, right? Is making things accessible to folks. So the question just a second ago there from Hackney Gaming: is this hosted on Azure? Here it is. It's running C# in the cards. This is the response time. You can see the response time coming out of the website is less than 20 milliseconds for the last 24 hours. Daniel, thank you so much for the follow. Very much appreciate that. Warm Peas was born in 93. Now you're showing your age. So, yeah, all the extra bits, 11th Heaven is right, all the extra bits around building websites are their own disciplines. DevOps, architecture, database management, they're their own disciplines, not just writing funny angle brackets to paint pretty pictures on screen. So there's a lot to it. And if anybody tells you that you're not in tech because you're not writing code, well, I would challenge you are writing some type of code. If it's DevOps, you're managing scripts to build, run, and deploy websites. If it's architecture, you're writing high-level UML code even to define how these pieces fit together. If you're doing database, you're certainly writing SQL and other database management scripts. That's code. I think of code really as instructions for a computer that other people benefit from. It's that simple. Some code gets turned into applications. Some code gets turned into websites. Some code gets turned into scripts that build and manage those websites. So, how you doing there? AOR Aries, reading a book a second time and even more after that. If one of them books you want to study and read it every day. Oh, that's cool. All right. Hackney Gaming graduated in 93. 99 for me. Class of 99. Hey, Dr. Cox. Hello. Second day of around 700 with new braces. Is that orthodontic braces you're wearing? Because my younger daughter got those back in October, and she is not a fan either. So, I'm running a 2-processor machine for this. It's brochureware. I could scale it back. I could scale it back to a single processor, but it would also drop my memory. And the amount of memory that I'm using on this, look, you can see, not too many people in the early morning on the website. But, where'd it go? Where's memory? Hey there, Yeno Money. Hello, welcome. It's back up here on, no, not the domain. I didn't want to go there. On the app service plan. It wouldn't let me control click. So I'm using about half the memory allocated to me. It's allocated 3.5 gigs on a basic 2. You can see basic 2 pricing plan. So if I were to scale this back, it would half the amount of memory that I have, which would mean that I'd be right up against. And it would then be doing more garbage collection. So I don't really want to do that. I'm not actually putting that much stuff into memory. So it's not doing garbage collection. I could try scaling it back and see what happens, but don't really need to. It looks fine, and it's $20, $25 a month to run this. That's fine. Where do I see at IAC? Make sure we get that right. IAC by IAC. What do you? Make sure I get that right. What are you referring to by IAC? Make sure I understand which acronym you're referring to here. right? Infrastructure as code. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. Yeah. Okay. So where do I see that fitting in? Is it DevOps or architecture? I think it's a bit of both. When you do DevOps, you need to have your architecture in mind. You need to know what your architecture is so you know how you're deploying, how you're going to be architecting things. So infrastructure as code feeds into things like Kubernetes definitions and deployment, which also fits in with things like .NET Aspire now. So I think that it straddles that line because DevOps defines how you deploy, how you manage those things. So I think it's a bit of both. So, yeah, it's not garbage collecting, right? If it was garbage collecting, it would drop off on that. It's just not. So if I did scale it back, it would garbage collect. Heck, let's do that just to see what happens, right? Like, isn't that part of the fun of live coding? Is, hey, let's break things. So there you go. You see, I'm on a basic 2. I'll even zoom in a little bit there. You can see it's $24 American a month. Let's scale it back to a basic 1. So you can clearly see I'm going from 2 CPUs to 1, and I wasn't really using CPU. I was at like 15% CPU. But I'm going to half the amount of memory that I have here. Hey, Ryan Weed. Hello. What kind of braces does my daughter have? Finally getting good teeth and bringing one. Yeah, she's fixing an overbite. So let's select that. So it is changing plan now, all right? So there's a thing up there. That's the web app. Is it? It was updated successfully, it says. Okay, so if we go back to go to the app service plan. So if I click into memory percentage so we can watch this, I'm going to take it down to the last 30 minutes so we can hopefully see that change. We'll go back to that sitemap page, refresh. First time launching. Right, it said it deployed really quickly, which feels weird. Hey, Sean. Hello. Right, feels weird, but whatever. And I'm okay with leaving it at 2. At a basic 2 here. So, it's weird that it's taking so long. Like, hey now. Right? Like, what are you doing? I mean, I would totally get it if it was restarting, right? Like we're in a restart mode. But did we just like break the website? I think we might have. Like this type of restart shouldn't take this long. You know? And the thing about running websites on the cloud is you always want things to run hot. You want to use as much of your resources as possible because then you're leaving money on the table. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. I think we need to go back. Like, changing plan. Updated successfully. That is almost too quick there. Like, really? Did you? Yeah, now it's not working over there again. Yeah, I think you're right. We may have to. I'm gonna do a flat stop on it. I just don't trust the restart button. You know? No, it's not coming back up. Oh, we broke it good. I don't know why we're not getting the websites. You bought Photoshop because your uncle wants you to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Photoshop for design? Okay. Seeing something you created come to life, it is quite not awe-inspiring, but it is quite valuable to see. That should not have broken it. No. Something else is going on here that I'm not happy about. Like, changing the size of a website should not have crushed it like that. Try another browser. Just to make sure. Nope. Like, are you kidding? It was screaming and returning data. No, nothing. Oh, finally. Like, what the heck were you doing? Like, that's... Something happened and it got the CPU running. Like... Yeah, okay. Like, there we go, 19 milliseconds. Good, we're 78 milliseconds. Oh, that was on the image. 45 milliseconds. Yeah. Back running the way it should be. But, and if I go back to the sitemap, 34 milliseconds. I don't get it. But scaling that should not have been so detrimental. Dear Lord. Have a good one, Ryan. And the memory on this should be... Yeah, it's not GCing. It's got everything in memory is what's happening there. So, I don't know. Yeah. Do I try scaling it back down again and then pushing the restart? I'm not going to tinker with it. You know what? Not going to go there. What is that? Why is Google Analytics collecting on this page? Like... No what? No, don't. Scale it back down. I mean, it sure looks like it's running properly. That feels weird. What the heck? Where? 1 second here. No, to scaling it, yeah, it was odd, and it would get us completely distracted, and not something that I want to spend time on chasing down some Azure misbehavior where in its current mode it's running just fine. I don't know why. What this 9 meg is that it was pushing out there. Hey Juan, asking any reason to use the Visual Studio 2022 preview anymore? There's always new features coming. It puts you on a. I always use the preview, so it puts you on a preview to see those new things. So particularly, you're going to get preview integrations and interactions with Copilot are the big things that they're working on right now, right? Is it under getting started? No. There was like a update. Updates for SQL interactions. Responsive ref labels in the Git repository updates, Live Property Explorer, Teams Toolkit. So there's more features coming, and while they might not be your cup of tea for this version, there's more stuff coming for the next, and so on and so forth. So I always stick on the preview train. So that's what's going on with this. I've got more writing and content to do for this series. I'm really happy with how it started, how it's been received. But like I said, I've got to continue pushing the content on that so that it ends up with a nice base that folks start finding. Because right now there's only 3 episodes. There's not a lot there. So that's the story there, and a couple of pieces I added to make it easier. Really the next thing that I need to consider in there is I want to move the posts, the data, into a folder that isn't served. You love the series, reminds you of what Exception Not Found used to do in modeling games. So it's been suggested that when we get done the basics of C#, write a simple card game. Write a simple card game for a half dozen episodes to finish off that series. So we'll see. Let's get the ARM machine up here. Where'd it go? It was right there. It's still there. It's just it went to sleep and put up the screensaver. See? And I will switch keyboards. Look at that. It just suspended from where I had it the other day is really all it did. So I will bring this up. Now I've got to go back and forth between 2 keyboards. That's always a trip. I'm going to pop out my screen there so that I can look at it the same way that I normally do. So, all right. And really the C# in the card series is it's an update and a rerun of the C# with C# for its first series of lessons that was out there that were 2-hour lessons, live interactions, very rich samples that were available, and making them little 5 to 10 minute episodes. I think folks are enjoying, and it's landing and going in the direction that I want. Let me make sure I have the latest stuff here. I don't think I made any other changes. Nope. Pick up right where we left off. Thanks so much. So let me .NET watch over here, and let's dive back into Visual Studio. We were on the moderation screen over here. This uses a bunch of SignalR, right, our live update technology, to pass data back and forth between the browser and the server, so that as folks are interacting and moderating content inside the Tags app application, they're getting those live updates sent to the other moderators and whatnot. Dominoes could make for good content. Yeah, same idea. Yep. what I like about playing cards is the card itself has a few properties, right? There's properties that we can define on the cards, not just right the value of the card, right, but the suit, the rank. There's an angle of spin that I want to use with it as well to demonstrate floating point numbers, but also when we get into a game playing situation, when a card is played, we can animate that card spinning going across the user interface, stuff like that. Here we are back in Tags app. So I'm logged in. I have an admin screen and we have a moderation screen that we are building back up here. It's got a little pause button down there in the corner. That's built with Blazor. This is all built with Blazor. And right now, none of the providers are active. We're getting some of these user interfaces working again, and then we'll migrate the providers in and get them lit up. We could probably migrate in Mastodon pretty quickly because Mastodon is free to access. And we could light that up pretty quickly here, so we at least had some test data to work with. Maybe after the first pass here on this screen, we'll pivot, go over and set up Mastodon and get that working again and running, and make sure we see data flowing through here. Jeremy Knight, hello. So we set up and we copied over the original JavaScript methods that listen inside the browser and perform different actions with the website. So there were just a couple things here to finish. There's a configure pause button, and then we call, hey, go get any existing content. Instead of doing that over SignalR, because this page runs in Blazor Server Interactive, we can call the database directly. We don't need to use SignalR to reach over and interact with that. So I'm okay with shifting that type of interaction. Same thing with get current moderators. I can also reach and call that directly instead of having to go across the wire to request and interact that, right? Across the wire, right? For those of you who aren't familiar with that, go across the network, make a request from the browser to the server. Web folks, tech folks call that going across the wire. Okay. So I think I can do, I don't need to do await start, right? I can do that. Thank you, Copilot. Yes. Start the connection. And after it starts the connection, configure pause button. What did that used to do? Right. Thank you. There's where it was. There's, okay. Yeah. There it is. So it added the click event listener to it. Well, here's the thing. I moved the pause button into a Blazor component, and it knows how to do the click interaction. So I don't need to call configure pause button because I've moved that logic into the component itself. You can never figure out where the newer IntelliSense features end and Copilot starts. Right. Oh, Jeremy. And the blurring of that line is interesting, but I can also understand where folks would have concerns and questions about that when they're trying to decide, well, how much Visual Studio do I need to buy? That's a sales type of discussion. And for me as Joe Schmo developer, I don't care where that line is. I want it all. However, the accounts payable folks at the company, they're going to have concerns and questions about that. Okay, so this is, hey, go get the content for the existing tag. So after setting up and saying, okay, listen for moderation content, I think these two items aren't really Signal R things anymore. So I'm going to remove them from there. This is really the setup Signal R method. That didn't work. That didn't work the way I wanted it to. You're not going to format my code? Why aren't you going to format my code? Fine. Be that way. So after initialize, then this was what it was in JavaScript. And I'm moving this. So get content for tag. Well, we know the current. Let's do this. I'm going to rename this. Really? You didn't do anything. Fine. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this up and make tag a field level. I'm sorry, a field on this page. So, oh man, it's not gonna, yeah, I believe that's a string. Okay. So now when I do get content for tag here, let's call this initialize content. Let's even await that. Some of these things I could probably set up as tasks that run in parallel. Could. This is going to bring back content and put it in the content block. So where I called right here, new waterfall message, and it adds it. So I'll set up an async method down here. Right. Async task initialize content. And what I should be able to do. So before, what it was doing was reaching onto the moderation hub here and calling get content for tag. I'm just going to call this directly. There is a way I can get that hub context and call it directly. Hey, PyroCat. Hello. Moderation hub context? Or was it hub? Hub context. I think, right? Isn't this a thing you can do? Right? I can't remember my Signal R. Signal R inject hub context, and it would give you the current instance of it. Right? Get an instance of I hub context. That's it. And yeah, that's because I still have JavaScript hanging out there in C#. Look at all that that we still have to move. Not done it yet. So this is going away. Just comment it out for right now. iHub context, it doesn't know what that is. iHub context is, you're not going to tell me what it is. I need a namespace there, friend. Is it Microsoft ASP.NET Signalor? Microsoft ASP.NET. Is it? No. iHub context. No. Microsoft ASP.NET Core Signalor. Okay, so underscore service, it doesn't know what that is on 252. Oh, right, because I just copied this over. So can I just do... Oh. It was get content for tag. I'm not even returning. Shoot. Not. Right. Hub context, get. Close. Get content for tag. Yes. That's exactly what I wanted to do. For each element, add it. Oh my gosh. 3D image processing is awful? Yes, it is. Okay, so what are we missing here? iHub context does not contain a definition for go back. Yeah. You can access it via dependency injection. You can inject an instance into controller middleware, blah, blah, blah. Oh, clients all send, that kind of thing. No, I want to call one of the server side things. I guess I can't. Which becomes kind of annoying. But if I'm moving this out, I'm okay with that, I guess. Right? If that goes away and instead I'm receiving iMessaging service into here, which is already there. Right? No! Give me that. Right? And this becomes not underscore service, but messaging service. So now it's reaching into the messaging service, going and getting the content, converting it to a content model, and I don't even need to array that at the end. Ooh. Yeah, I don't need to array that. Do it anyway. Hey, Justin. Hello. This needs to be that. Moderation content model to content model. Really? Show me. Yeah. In which case, here's the content model.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
No, that's not the right hat. No. Now, okay, 69%, whatever. We're gonna have an issue here. This probably should be moderation content model. So when it receives a new message, is it... Oh, man. It receives a content model. But... yeah, okay, I could say to moderation content model and put it in the same place. Okay. Moderation content model. Right? Yeah. Like this. And just wrap that like that. But now my content up here needs to be... which is going to be a pain in the neck. We'll figure it out. Yeah, because I wanted to pass around moderation content models. But when we get to providers, in here, we're going to output the initial content. And when I do that, I'm going to put Blazor cards. But a Blazor card with moderation is different. So do I now have another Blazor card, but it's the moderation Blazor card? Hey, Xbox. Yes, you do have to dispose it. Hey there, Art. There's our friend Bald Bearded Builder. Hello. As I'm a oh, I'll put that message up. Should we have a moment of silence for the greatest of all time? It's been a sad 24 hours. Consider this. In the last week, the greatest coach in Seattle football history, The greatest the not greatest of all time in Alabama. I'm not going to put him ahead of Bear Bryant, but the probably currently the best coach in college football. And oh, hey, thanks for the subscription.
Infected.
And the current best coach, winningest coach in professional football, all retired within a week of each other. All of them. It's going to be an interesting fall fall 2024 for American football. But Nick Saban going from Michigan State to the Dolphins to LSU and Alabama. Totally ahead of the Bear? Really? I don't know. It was a different time. I had to break new ground, Bear Bryant did, back in the 50s, 60s. So, yeah. But, yeah, Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, and Bill Belichick all stepping away from the game. That's pretty amazing stuff. And it's going to mean those programs all have significant hurdles to overcome in the year ahead. The New England Patriots were on a downward track anyway. I think Alabama already had issues that they were trying to deal with in the NIL program that Nick was not happy with, and it was clear it was clear he was not happy with, because Alabama is going to have a real hard time competing with schools that are in larger cities that have that interaction that they can pull, because they've got the deep pockets right there. And Penn State already has that problem, being located out in the middle of the state, away from the big cities of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. They are quite vocal. They're having that problem getting NIL donations. Ohio State doesn't have that problem because they're in downtown Columbus. University of Michigan doesn't quite have that problem because they're so close to Detroit. I think we'll see Michigan State ramp up because they're right there in Lansing. So, just thinking around the Big Ten teams. Rutgers should ramp up at some point because all the New York City money pouring in there. We'll see. We'll see. So, certainly USC, UCLA, we already saw Washington has money pouring in there, and they are bringing in kids out of the transfer portal like it's going out of style. I mean, their quarterback this year was a transfer from Indiana University. Different. I agree. Belichick should have stepped away when Brady left. He wasn't the same without him. He wasn't the same with him. Before him, Bill Belichick is a without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick is a middle of the road coach. It's okay.
Squirrel.
Don't mind talking a little football here. So I'm going to run into a little bit of an issue here as I go to put that content on screen. So I've already replaced this. So it's grabbing that content, putting it into a collection, and I'm going to iterate over the collection and put it on screen. And it would be just a for loop here, like I do on the waterfall page, and I say here, just put out a waterfall message. But the waterfall message component, oh, come on, you're not going to jump through to that. Waterfall message, and it's showing me that rendered one. So write this component. Yeah, Jeremy, Drew Brees, and Sean Payton, right? Neither one of them has done anywhere near as well separate from each other. It's the coaches that are able to endure over a long period with multiple different team leaders. Andy Reid has done this well. He's had how many different quarterbacks at the Eagles and now at the Chiefs, and continues to do well. When you have team leaders, and you're able to mold and work with team leaders, acquire team leaders as a coach, as somebody who's managing the team, and you're able to continue to grow and drive that program, it says something about the leadership of that coach. And when we think about how Belichick, never the same without Tom Brady, it speaks worlds of Tom Brady, not so much about Belichick. Nick Saban's been through how many different quarterbacks, and you see, and right, this is what college coaches are so good at: identifying the young talent, grooming them, getting them to buy into the system, and advance the program. Saban did that very well at Michigan State, at LSU, at Alabama, finding, grooming, advancing young men. I'll go back to our own program. Joe Paterno for decades did that. You don't get to 400 wins without being able to groom and adapt and build leaders. You don't see that in modern sports. Shoot, what was the name of the guy, the longtime manager for Manchester United, and now the guy who's the manager at in, is it Man City? Pep? Continuing to grow and develop leaders over the test of time. Guys that come in and they're coach for 5-6 years, and after their team turns over, they leave. Like, that's kind of to be expected. They found the folks that they worked with, they couldn't make the next block work. It's those managers and leaders of teams over 5-10 years and longer. Those are the real good ones. And quite frankly, ownership, management, front office of pro teams, college teams, don't have patience for a long period of time. It's continued success that make really good leaders. Saban did it very well. College coaches that do that are something. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Jim Harbaugh in Michigan now. It's going to be real interesting. The fact that the Ohio State program has done it across 4 or 5 different coaches over the last 10, 20 years, something else is going on there. Something else is going on there. Because it's not a coach that's leading the program. If they're able to continue to sustain that, something else is going on there. That's driving and carrying that leadership culture. So here this is the component that formats messages from Twitch, from Twitter, from Mastodon, and it knows how to get all of this stuff. So if I want to return and pass a content model in here so that card works, I feel like I need to upgrade this a little bit so that it knows how to handle a moderation content model. And I need to define that crossover between the two. Right? This is a record. So maybe I add a property in here called content that does return just those objects. Screechrat says transfer portals made college coaches' jobs even harder. Yes, college coaches' jobs now are becoming more like pro coaches' jobs because they're getting turnover every year. Not just they've got a set of young men, they recruited 20, 30 guys, and they're going to be with the team for 3-4 years. And they've got a rolling set of 100 guys that are on the team. No. So You see, map provider to icon function call on line 17. Let me go back over here. Yes, that is a method that I've made available down here that probably could be moved into the content model. Yeah, probably could be moved into the content model. The idea here is the provider is one of our 7 providers that we have right now, right? Twitter, Twitch, YouTube chat, Blazor, websites, and what's the last one? Mastodon. Could be one of those 7, and some of those names just map right through. However, other ones, we need to turn it into an icon CSS class name, and these are the class names that we have available that we can pass through. Part of me doesn't want to move this into the moderation content model. That's in the web. Hang on, there's a view models. This one is the one it should be using. Yeah. And I should remove this one then. Let me do that. Let's remove that one. Right? That one should be the same. Yeah, I picked up and moved those 2. So I'm just going to delete them. Which is in turn going to break this, but I don't care. I'll bring in the view model object. I'm going to run a quick build over here just to remap the types, the namespaces on those. I expect it to break, but we'll get the notifications there. So I'm keeping an eye out for shenanigans. I suspect shenanigans today. The game is afoot. So, yep, look at this. See, look at all those. So I should be able to reroute these. Right? And somewhere in here... Actually, some of these might be able to just drop directly. You know? Yeah. I might luck out on some of these because they weren't actually referencing it and should have probably been removed earlier. You know? Man. Wonder if I could just do a quick find and replace. You know? What if I did that? Not in the whole solution, in the current project. Yoink them all. There were going to be 7 more of those. Right? So if I tell it to rebuild, it should show me only those places where it's referencing a thing that doesn't exist. Yeah, see, there we go. Content model. Watch this. Now control dot. Give me my using statement. Done. Moderation content model. Doesn't know where that is. Watch this. Using. Done. iHosting environment is obsolete. Fine. Don't care. You know what? That's a warning. Don't care about the warnings. Turn off the warnings. View imports. That using statement doesn't exist. Goodbye. Don't need that. Yeah. I removed it. And rebuild. Da, 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 da. Here we go. Signaler notifier needs some things. get over there because I moved. Done. Rebuild. Let's see. High Tech Redneck says the transfer portal is, can't say anything nice. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the transfer portal either. I appreciate I appreciate what they're trying to do. However, I disagree with it. The theory behind the transfer portal is that students who are not athletes, who do not have scholarships, right? Athletic scholarships, can pick up and change schools at will in order to get a better education. The transfer portal is giving those students who do have athletic scholarships the ability to stand up, walk away, and accept an athletic scholarship at another school. I get it. When you consider the cost of an education at some of these schools, I'm going to pick on Michigan because they won the national title the other night. University of Michigan tuition. The cost for University of Michigan tuition, $35,000 a year. That includes living expenses, so room and board. They're getting a lot more than that as students, as student athletes. They're getting a little bit of pay. And quite frankly, not having the right to just pick up and go to the next school when you're getting paid and you're getting that kind of compensation to perform as an athlete for the school, I'm okay with that trade-off. However, as we make college, the big college sports, which right now is football and basketball, as we're making them more and more into the minor leagues for the NFL and the NBA, I appreciate that colleges need to be able to bring in other students. Digital Dummy, I'm going to pin your question and come back to that in just a second. Oh, no, I'll take that. Do I have any opinion on it? Companies using AI-generated content? I know some people are upset because it's taking jobs from voice actors, for example. It is. I've never had a company hire me to do voice work. It just hasn't happened for me. The images that you see on the C# and the Cards website, those are all AI generated. Some of the descriptions over there you've seen, I've gotten AI help generating that text. I say AI help because I haven't taken all of the text directly. We've modified and inserted some of it. I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of completely replacing human voices because there is a dangerous, in my opinion, I think there's a dangerous slippery slope that we're approaching there. I think I think within the next 2 years, we're going to see AI avatars that are so good that they're going to be security concerns because people will use them to fake out authentication into various services. So but helping to generate some text, helping to generate some baseline images, I'm okay with. Baseline images. I'm not using any of that as logos, as things that I would put on merch to trademark, copyright, and move forward with. I use them as promotional images. Games voicing NPCs. I had a company reach out to me and wanted me to join them as a community, not just a community manager, but a head of developer relations and developer education that was building tools to make non-player characters out of AI. That feels... I get why they're doing it. I get it, right? The non-player characters in a video game, to a certain level, even going all the way back to Pac-Man's ghosts, are a certain amount of artificial intelligence. Pac-Man's ghosts have a dumb program written into them, right? This one, if its eyes see you, it's going to chase you. This one, if its eyes sees you, it's going to run the other way. That one, if its eyes sees you, it's going to try and cut you off, so on and so forth. That was not the sophisticated artificial intelligence learning models that we have today, but it was a certain amount of artificial intelligence because they wrote very basic algorithms around it. Hey, I should focus on more boring stuff like doing my taxes. I kind of agree with you. Where's the best place to add to a concurrent queue in ASP.NET application? To add to a concurrent queue? I need more context. You can add to a concurrent queue from anywhere. I would stand up some sort of a repository that does that, so you can that manages that queue for you, so that you can swap out the implementation of the queue, or even move it to another service later. But that's me believing in direct implementations of data storage should not be exposed in your application. So, you used AI yesterday to generate some XML content for method headers. Great! That's stuff that you would have created, get it generated, review it, boom, push it out there. On startup, why are you inserting into a concurrent queue on startup? Why are you putting things into a concurrent queue in startup? Okay, my moderation content model, I want to have just a property, a get property off of this to get the content. So let's do that. Public content, right? Yes! That looks pretty ugly. What? No. I mean, okay, new content. What did... No. New, it should be content model, isn't it? Regenerate that thing. Still with this ugly... And you're not formatting it for me either. What's the deal, Visual Studio? Like... Really? And even saying format code isn't working. Edit. Advanced. Format document. No. Okay. Advanced. Format selection. Didn't do anything. Why isn't it? Still not formatting it. Something's broken. In at least this version of Visual Studio. On republishing the API, the concurrent queue dependencies. Well, I still don't understand. I'm sorry, I'm missing this. Control KD was the keystroke. There's different key maps. I use Control E, Control D for it. Yeah, concurrent objects should be static. I'm sorry, I don't know why you're loading things into a queue at startup for publishing an API. Are you trying to join an API or something? I'm sorry. There's a context here that I'm missing and I'm not understanding. Okay, so if I have that, what I should be able to do now is on my moderation page, when I want to put them on screen, so on the waterfall page, I do a for each here, right? I should be able to do the same thing here. So my content in this case, content values reverse. Content is that content item. Well, that content item is a moderation content model. So now this is going to look weird. And I need a show modal method here. Well, I don't have show modal. So I'm not passing that. Take a look back over here. So that's fine. The on click isn't going to do anything. Right? I'll put a question mark on that. Yes, restart the app. I'm trying to reuse the same object here, right? User.pg. Thought it was user JPG. Yeah, we lost the. Okay. So I still need to. There's other pieces that I need to add in here if it's in moderation mode, and I need to put in the moderation overlay. So maybe there's a mode that I pass in here that activates moderation mode and those capabilities. Okay. Because I've got more data to show if it's a moderation content model. Let's go back over to here. No, go back to the site.js that we had. Format content. What? Format message for moderation. Here we go. Yes, and it's got the whole content safety bit here. How you doing there, JR Brand? Welcome. And then it has format message, and it passes in information about the moderation panel. All right. Yeah. Oh boy. This isn't. That was debug code. And then here's the formatting the modal. Here's the on mouse enter, which did the moderation, and then removing oldest messages. Let's go back. Shoot, and I don't have a back button on this mouse. Show moderation panel. Here we go. And there's the features for the moderation panel. Do I pass that in? Or do I add that? I don't want to add it to every element. Because you can only moderate one session, only one message at a time. So might be okay. Maybe I just duplicate waterfall message and have waterfall moderated message and have a separate component that is specific to those features. That's not terrible, is it? And then I can enhance it and I don't have to worry about, right? I don't have to worry about the collision between the two types. Where I was doing a lot of if-then in my JavaScript previously. I think I'm going to change it. So, okay, in our moderation screen previously, we brought up and had the exact same formatted moderation message. So, in my components then, over here, I'll call this a moderation message. And I'll add those features that are specific for moderation in here. Which means I can make this then a, well, I don't have a content selected interaction that takes place. I'm passing in a moderation content model. Right? Which then means I don't, when I put those elements on the screen, this is going to be a moderation message. And then I can just do that. I think. How are we doing on errors? Waterfall. Oh, I put that. Well, that goes away now. Okay. So, how are we doing on the build? Cannot convert from content model to contents. Moderation 184. That's a content model. Take a look at that. Yeah, and I kind of got away with this because I had because it was in JavaScript and I had dynamic types I could push around. Let's see if we can get Copilot to generate this one. Public static moderation content model to moderation content model from give me that return statement. Still, why don't you like that name? Yeah, I know. I didn't write it yet. What's with all the tabs? Like, seriously? I don't get that. Hey there, Lester Cab. Welcome. Looks right. And that means that works. Says it's building. Let's see what we get. I mean, it's not actually going to do anything. There's not going to be any content on screen yet. But there's an error here somewhere. There we go. On content selected does not exist. On moderation message. Right. Because I started moving this over. So this actually is going to change. Because I do want an on click over here for touch screens. People touching to moderate. That didn't sound right. That didn't sound right. There's an on mouse over that'll bring up the moderation panel. Yeah, you started. Come on. Show me what that looks like. Let's go. Let me see here. Come on. I got a big error code there. That's not good. My car's in the shop today. So all right. Lots of discussion with the family that I'm not going to go after. Timeout during the attempt. Read buffer. Wow. Did I not start? It's possible that I didn't start the Docker container that has my database running in it. So let's go fix that. Let's go. Let's go. Right. I might not have started that, and it looks like the WSL instance isn't coming back up. Uh-oh. How do we shut that down? Ooh! Yeah. WSL shut down. Right, so the Linux instance that's running inside of Windows isn't responding. We may have to just reboot the whole shooting match here. While it's doing that, come on now. Ooh, look at all that. That's a lot. Yeah, go ahead. Add everything. That sounds good. Yeah, I like that. Did it add everything? No. Tags app web. Git commit. Moving things for the new moderation screen. Right, I'm not going to push that. Sure, go ahead, push. Why not? Okay, so it says it shut down the Windows subsystem for Linux, so let's restart it. Come on, I know I've got a clip for this. Okay. Should still be there. Yep. So restart the database. Back over here. Restart the application. Should get all reconnected and up and running and... Come on. Come on. I want to get on the other side of this migration so we can talk about building new features and stuff like that. This has been like the tale of my stream for the last 3 years. We do a bunch of really cool stuff, and then we spend like 2 months migrating. Oh, gosh, we need to fix that. Migration time. Migrate. And then stuff gets boring as crap. Did we not activate the moderation hub? This one. Let's see. Add Razor Pages goes away. We didn't map the moderation hub. That should be in the other one also. Yeah. Come on now. File changed. You need to rebuild. That's not a hot reload. Because it needs to restart the program. You can't hot reload program. Right? The entry point of our websites can't be hot reloaded. You need to restart it so that it reruns the entire program. And then hands off. Like that. And still breaks. That's not bad. We're getting an unauthorized coming back while trying to connect to the moderation hub. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the moderation hub. And it's saying that you need to be in the moderator policy. So did we not define that? Stack trace, yeah. Everybody loves a stack trace. Did we even set up those policies? No. Add tags app security. Show me. Add identity, add authorization. Policy, roles and policy moderator. Right now it's require role. We put a claim in there. Let's go over here. ASP.NET user claims. Display name. There's a role claim that says admin. That. You're telling me that it didn't pick that up? I don't believe you. Claim type. So let's say claim types role, and then an array of allowed values. Okay. Actually, I don't need to do a new, right? Because I can just do it like that. Can't hot reload that. It needs to be restarted. There we go. And we're about to turn 23,000 followers. Look at that. Wow. All right. So I'm back on. Okay, that works. Over to moderation, and I still get unauthorized. Why? So the policy is a moderator, is policy.moderator. I've added that policy. So it's like it found it. Right? So if I just start it with, we need to have a role. Rebuild it. And then we'll look at the required values here. The allowed values. Because I think the values are ORed, right? You have to have one of these values. This value or this value or this value. No. That didn't work either. If I remove this policy, does it come back and say unknown policy? The game is afoot. Let's see what we find. Come on now. I'm looking for... Okay, internal server error. Start async on listen for moderation content. Okay. So if I do put this back in here, What else can I put on here? I don't want to say require role. Let's just say require authenticated user. Start simple. And it's got to reload. Because it's got to rebuild the policy. So, my watch, my Apple Watch, didn't charge at all last night. That was a pain in the neck. I hate it. You wake up and you had your watch on the charger all night, and oh, guess what? You were off by a couple millimeters, and it didn't charge quite right. Nope, that didn't work either. Unauthorized. Okay. Interesting. So you don't have me as an authorized user. Let me log back in. I forget what email I used, so I'm going to try this one. Okay. No. I just write sudo in front of it. No, not quite. Is there something with my hub connection builder? Because I'm creating it in C#, do I need to do something to make sure that it carries along my user information? Right? If I jump into here, hub connection builder right here. And I'm not getting any IntelliSense on this at all, so I've got to go C# with, yeah, with off. Carry my authentication information along that. What? Yeah. That's TypeScript. Access token provider. Where am I getting my access token? What? What? I'm using cookies in this case, not Jot. Bearer token authentication is the recommended approach. Okay. I don't want this. I don't like this. Following code is to set up the authentication, add DB context, add default identity, entity framework stores, Razor pages. Use authentication, use authorization. That changed in .NET 8. Hey, lemon sauce. I have the token provider. Map additional identity endpoints. Oh, dear Lord. Yeah, that's all the new stuff for the new identity. So we didn't say app.use authentication yet. But I still, once I get past that, in the JavaScript client, there's a similar access token provider property. Where is it getting the access token? Still unauthorized. Okay. So this is saying with URL, and then there's options to pass in. Because we're doing this with .NET, and I'm not getting IntelliSense here. Oh, man. This is going to be... And it's my access token, but it's not clear where that's coming from. Options, access token, provider. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. And since I don't have IntelliSense, I have no validation on that. Let's create another page. No. Test mod Razor. Sure. That's not it. That's it. Hey there, Obeal. Welcome. Var connection equals new. Right? Now, yeah, we need navigation manager, so we need to inject. Thank you. Sure. And I'm not getting IntelliSense at all there. That's not it. Where is it getting my access token? Yeah, cascading authentication state is set up in app Razor. No, routes. Authorized route view, there it is. So I am getting the cascading authentication state. Yes, I am using Windows on ARM. So in Blazor, I need to grab the authentication state. I forget how to grab that. Authentication state provider. This authentication is it is the bane of my existence in writing code. Like, I could receive the context. Authentication state provider service. Yes, how do I get it? Inject it? I don't think, no, that's not it. Get it as a cascading parameter? Like that? It is a little bit snappier. You're right. I don't know if that's it, but then that. Right there. No, it is a task, so I don't need to do from result. So it is snappier. This is a Windows Dev Kit 2023 that I'm using here. Oh boy. Get rid of test mod. And task string. So and I can't see anything on it. Authstate.user. How do I get the token? Includes authorized route view in the call. Add cascading authentication state. It does. It does. Yep, it does. Okay, we already were doing that. Okay. Yeah, Volterra, that one. Yep. Context get token async. I've got the authentication state. Not the anti-forgery. Authentication is managed by the SignalR hub and entirely within the circuit. The built-in authentication state provider service obtains authentication state data from HTTP context user. No. Anti-forgery tokens I'm okay with. That's not the issue here. The issue here is I'm on the server trying to make a request to the hub. And I need to set up some other different token, not the cookie, some other token to authenticate mid-process. Like, I just want a GitHub Copilot or ChatGPT answer to just make this secure. Just hook up the security on this. I don't even need Jot. And I don't want to wire up Jot because I'm all in memory. I haven't left the process. This is all running on the server. It's going from the server to the server. Because this page is interactive server. Like, technically, I don't need to use a hub for this. I could just listen to a shared memory thing, right, Nightmare Joker? And just bag out on SignalR on this part altogether. I'm intrigued. You shouldn't have to pass the token from host into app, because when you add cascading authentication state, it should be there on that object. I don't have IntelliSense popping up that will that'll allow me to explore and discover where that bit of documentation is, where that feature is. It's there. So I'm trying to look it up in the docs, and the docs are not helping. So what if instead of SignalR, what if we just listen directly on the messaging service? Because that's all that SignalR is doing here. Like, on Connected, this is doing a management of, here's the list of moderators that are listening. So if I stood up a service that wasn't SignalR that did this, so what? Right, I don't need extra security. You're right, Nightmare Joker. That's what I'm thinking also, right? There's no reason to add extra security to pass tokens around and back and forth when everything's already running on the server in the same memory space. Setting the status of a... Right, this is just reaching back. Here's who the current user is, and apply that moderation. Get filtered content by tag. And then there's notifying the others that these things happened. Thinking. It would be a rewrite of this. And right, this is you. This 16 different places it uses. gutting this. This is the pipeline. That SignalR notifier is being used to notify when there is new content, and that does go through no, it doesn't go through the message hub. Yes, it does, right there. And instead of there's where it's notifying the moderation folks. So if instead of going through SignalR there, it's going through my new service that we're talking about writing, just a service class that keeps things in memory and pushes out. So basically raises an event to be displayed. Instead of a hub, it's an I-hosted service. But it does the same thing, and I don't have to authenticate back and forth because everything's happening in memory. And in the future, that service would be replaced with a service bus. Is that Elatian? Welcome. Appreciate the follow. That makes sense. Let's do it. Let's create moderation service that removes SignalR from the mix because we're running all of this in memory. It's going to take a little bit of work. We'll register it as a singleton. And instead of saying clients group new waterfall message, we'll call a method notify of new message. And here's the content, and let it figure out what to do. It's basically going to raise an event. We could do it mostly with events, couldn't we? Let's wire that up. I'm actually going to put it in the same hubs. No, I didn't want class view. Wrong hotkey. In hubs. There we go. Let's call this moderation service. And I'm going to make this an I background service. That's an interface that's available. No, it's a background service. There we go. It's a base class that's available to you in ASP.NET Core so that you can build a service that runs in the background that can be started and stopped. And I forget what execute is. Called when it starts. No, I'm not. Yeah, start async. So does any kind of configuration that you need, and then execute is what happens when it's running. So let's implement those couple of methods. Oh, I guess I only need to implement execute. What's up, Speedy? How's things? So my moderation hub had a way to collect, here's the folks that are currently listening, right? I don't really need a user maybe I do need a user manager. Nah, we can figure this out. We will need those two. which it might get grouchy because this is a singleton and it's receiving those. Current users moderating, definitely we need. Yeah. I'll put that out there. Okay. Not quite sure what it's going to be doing yet. Does a background service need to be added to Program CS? Yes, it does. Yep. You need to register the background service. Hell, let's do that to start up here. So I'll drop in. So I have a method here that sets up all of my hosted services that I need. So things like my SignalR notifier, my memory cache. Let's add it right here. Services, add hosted service, I think it is. Yeah. No. What did I call this? Moderation service. Which means, yep. I don't need to give it an interface. There we go. So now it knows what it is. It's going to create one of those, and it's going to run it as a background services. So do I know anything about flushing a CLR profiler as part of a hosted service? Flushing a profiler as part of a hosted service? No, but why are you flushing your profiler? Like, you shouldn't be interacting with your profiler from your production code. So you call this from Program CS? Yeah. So, right, this is called from Program CS so that I keep it a little bit simpler. I know I was going to have to register a bunch of hosted services here that are specific to my application. So move that over here. And here's where I'm setting up my SignalR notifier, this background service, my memory cache, my content configuration, put all of those unique services over here in another file so that my main pipeline to Program CS is a little bit clearer what's going on. You have a short-lived application, less than 5 seconds. Kubernetes doesn't flush to the cloud fast enough. Ugh. So you're sending you want to send a message out to Kubernetes. I don't know how to do that, no. How would you signal Kubernetes that a task is done? Is there some API that you would call there, that you could call there with an HTTP client to push a message? I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. I'm sorry. So that's going to start up and run that service in the background. Right now, the service doesn't do anything. Right. Let's just do console right line. Started the moderation service. Right. Return task, completed task. Go ahead, restart. What do you mean you're not going to restart? Moderation Razor 176 has an entry. Yeah, this. I'm going to just remove that for right now. Okay. And that's the unauthorized trying to connect. but started the moderation service. So it's out there, it's running. Now I can reference and reach into it. So what kinds of things do I need to do there? I need to be able to output that there are new waterfall messages that returns a content model. That returns a moderation content model. So let's add that. Ooh. Tell me more. No. Public event. I want an event handler is really, you know? New message args on new message. And just generate it here. This needs to inherit from event args. That's kind of their jam. I'm going to say public required. Yeah, it's a new one. So content model. Give me my using statement for that. Thank you. Okay. On new moderator. Call it new moderator args. Actually, I could probably just call it moderator args. Why does it feel like the sound's in 480p? It's not. So, no, generate it here. Oh my goodness, who is it? Tick Tick Boom. Hello. Good to see you. How's things? Welcome in, readers. Hello, hello. That should be enough. Welcome in. How you doing there? Tick Tick Boom's another member of the Live Coder stream team. Great to see you, friends. What were you doing over there on your channel? Let us know. And great to see you. I'm going to also add on depart moderator. I will want a join here. Yep, there it is. Email and display name. Do I really need... I don't need the username, I guess. Yeah. Just get rid of that. That's cool. What about depart moderator? Yeah. Nice. So Copilot generated that to handle the connection information. They're about, here's the moderators that are currently working. All right. All right. Because this is a singleton, I'm nearly positive I can't get the services, have them wired up in here. Let's add a constructor here. iService iService provider. I think it's iService collection. I think it is. So this is going to be a long-running service that's going to be sitting out here doing its thing. So while not stopping token cancellation requested, yep. Await task delay 100. Do the thing. Working on a project which got your company into the Microsoft Startups program. Nice. You talk about it so often, called GEMS. It is a streamer, Twitch-only monetization system focused around digital collectibles of moments in stream. Neat. Okay. Very cool stuff. Shouldn't I inject iService provider? Is it iService provider or iService collection? I can't remember. No, I don't want to rename. I want to refactor. Is it? Right, so I might not actually need anything running on a loop here. Right, because if somebody comes through if I go over to the SignalR notifier, right, we're going to send new waterfall message and pass that through, which is public void new message. No. New content. No. Yeah. So at this point, I would raise new message args, which should probably be new content args, to keep my nomenclature, right? So if you're calling this and saying, hey, I have new content. Hello, welcome. I would want to do, I want to notify everybody, so I just raise the event, right? On new content. This new content args. And content model does know how to convert from content. Look at that. So that just notifies. I don't really need this service running in the background. It doesn't need to be a service. It can be a singleton because it's not actually running anything. Hey, Jean Valjean. Hello. Coder24601 is here. I don't need this as a background service. Yeah. I can just have it as a singleton, because it's just routing messages back and forth. So I don't need that. Don't need this. Right? Just simplifying the crap out of this. So one new moderator. Let's centralize and let's keep the gravatar here. Public URI, not, let's say avatar, because it might not be gravatar in the future. Yes, tick, tick, boom. I use that technique a bit. Let me go back over there. So I have a record called content model, and I use an implicit operator that automatically converts it from one type to the next. I typically make these explicit so that you have to explicitly say convert it from this type to that type. I think I should do that. Right? So I can't just do that. I have to say content model so that you know you're doing that conversion. You know you're calling the conversion script. There's other authors, there's other content generators, influencer folks who would say not to do this, but would instead prefer that you have a method like that. I get it. I do. But you're literally creating the exact same thing instead of using the language feature. Use the language feature. Then it becomes, right, very clear in my mind to do that. I'm okay with extension methods that folks may want to put on there to do that. Makes sense. But in a multi-layered application, and you're on a right the content model in this case, this is a user interface exposed object. The content object here is a common model that's at a low level. So hang on, I might have just screwed that up. Oh, wait a minute. This is sitting in view models, which means it has a reference to the common objects. I don't want it to have a reference to the common objects. There's an architecture disconnect there. Because I don't want to pass that common object down. The mapper effectively generates this code. I generated it with GitHub Copilot. There it is, done. But it's referencing the common library, and I don't want to pass the common library into the Blazor WebAssembly. I'm going to take a to-do on this. Refactor to not take a dependency on the common library. Because I don't want... that common library is a set of things that I want all of my server operations to use. My client-side stuff, I don't want to use this. No. Shoot. This jumped off my playlist. No, that's on my playlist. Where am I? Hang on. Did I jump off my playlist? Because that didn't sound like... That didn't sound like music that's on this playlist. Nope, there it is. Yeah, that wasn't a song that's on the playlist. Why did it play a song that wasn't on the playlist? Hang on. It went off the playlist. What, did we get to the end of the playlist and it jumped off? No, this isn't Smart Playlist, no. This is a specific playlist. Oh, that's going to cause me problems on YouTube. Moving on. Yeah, that music information is wrong. And all right, I took a line. I took a to-do to fix this in the future. That's fine that it's dependent on the content model, but this is going to have the same issue. To-do refactor to eliminate the direct reference to common project. Maybe I move those into, yeah. Okay, so this is notifying, hey, there's new content. I'm going to specify and pass down, and it's only receiving a content model, right? So I'm isolating and only passing through things that are in the view model. Okay. And then I've got those other two methods that we do notify about. Well, three. Blocked user count, approved message, rejected message. So let's add one for the blocked user count. Blocked user count args on yeah, that looks good. Sure. And I'll just keep it here in this file. These should be inheriting from event args. Blocked user count. Make it required. And set it on a knit. Nice. Oops. This one needs to be... Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I'll add a method here for... Let's put it before the content stuff. Public void blocked user count. Set blocked user count. It was right there. Yes. Should probably store it somewhere. Just add a property, why not? Right? In which case, no. There we go. So that we store a copy of it locally and we pass that information along, notify folks that are listening on it. You think it'd be really nice if event args could be records? They should. Is the required keyword a .NET 8 thing? I think it's either .NET 6 or 7. So it forces those entries to have a value. I wanted to do the Gravatar bit in here. Hang on. Where is it? To Gravatar. That's it? That's all I gotta do? Add moderator, new moderator args. Avatar equals email. Yeah, to Gravatar. That's it? Probably need a using statement for that, don't I? No. You don't have it yet, Fritz. I do have it up there. Oh, you know what? It's not returning a URI, is it? It's a string. Oh, that does. Sure. Make it a URI. .NET 7 is where it came in. There you go. And it helps with some of the nullable items, right? I could make the... Well, I'm not going to pass through all of these items on the removal. So, here, make that one line. Thank you. So I've got set blocked user count, new content. So we need approved content, right? Here. So we call notify approved message, and here's the content and the action. Moderation action is specifies who took that action and when. So it just passes through a moderation content model. Yeah. And just notifies folks about it. Nullable reference stuff was like, it was a while ago, but they've made it easier to manage. So I need args for a on approved and on rejected. Why would you say on moderated content? Moderated content args on moderated content like that. Oh, man. Make this a required, and it's a moderation content model. Moderated. Just call it content. Like, you know it's moderated content. Everything's called moderated about it. Blazor hurts your soul? How you doing there, just in time? Tell me about it. What don't you like about Blazor? Help me out here. Because I'm not doing Blazor here. I'm doing standard C#. What challenges you? Help me out here. So then I'm gonna have a I'm gonna have a method here. There we go. Boom. Shows this in the project file where someone hurt you. So I think now I'm not actually doing anything with the service here. This is strictly a messaging to broadcast out. So if I go back over to that SignalR notifier, and instead of retrieving a mod context, right? I'm not sure it's going to find it. Yep, it did. Give me a second here. I will take that question and answer it. Let me pin that message. And I will get back to that in just a second. So I'm injecting, this is going to be a moderation service. And then I can get rid of that. And now I've got all these places where I'm going to update and replace with that content. So, right, I'm going to say moderation service, not on new content. Yeah, content. And then that goes away. Yuck. New moderate content. There we go. And then that goes away. Same thing down here. Right? Moderation service. Moderate content. Content action. Moderation service. Set blocked user count. And it'll notify and broadcast that. Here we go. So, let me save what I've got here. Make sure that that's building. I'm using too many mice right now, so I'm getting confused. That should build. While that's building, let me come back over here and answer a couple questions in chat. Let me start with this one first. What's the difference between .NET, ASP.NET, Blazor, and the other web things? .NET is a series of tools, libraries, and runtimes that you use to build applications, services, and whatnot. So .NET is a bigger thing that you use. ASP.NET and ASP.NET Core, the modern version that runs on .NET 6, 7, and 8. ASP.NET is the web frameworks that run on top of the .NET runtimes and base libraries and languages that we use to build websites. Similarly, we have a series of frameworks we use to build native applications called Windows Forms and WPF. They build Windows-based applications. We can build applications that run on mobile and Mac and Windows with the .NET MAUI framework, right? So just like ASP.NET targets building websites, we have these other frameworks that run on .NET. All of your languages, all your libraries work the same way, and you can use that. Blazor is one of the user interface architecture frameworks that ships as part of ASP.NET that allows you to build with that very component-focused technique with angle brackets to build websites and still be able to do some very cool things regarding how you deploy and run your application across the web, whether it's running on a server, it's running statically rendered on a server, it's running in the browser with WebAssembly. You have a whole bunch of choices there. ASP.NET, though, has other child frameworks besides Blazor that you can choose, like MVC and Razor Pages, that allow you to build with slightly different architecture, the MVC pattern, a page-focused pattern, to build and deploy your applications. XML is enough to make a grown man cry? Completely disagree. Completely disagree. If you're upset about XML, you're missing the entire point of XML. So Justin says, biggest thing that irks me about Blazor is having so much separation between page content and the back end. Bindings can make it hard to manage sometimes, but I think it's actually not a Blazor problem. It's more of just how C# works. Completely disagree. What you are seeing are patterns that folks have implemented to simplify management. What you are seeing and what you are judging are patterns that folks have chosen. Let's talk through that just a little bit. Because those patterns that folks have chosen and they're building with have been reached after many, many years of managing large-scale applications with frequently changing requirements and being able to adapt to that change and continue to deliver high-quality applications fast. So, if I go back over to the code, let me open a new Visual Studio. Let's open a new Visual Studio. It might not do that nicely here. Create a new project, and I'll create a new Blazor project. I'd really like Blazor, if you don't mind. Thank you. How you doing there, Vision Link OS? Welcome. Sure, just call it that. That's fine. No, I'm gonna start with auto. Per page, that's fine. Just jump right into the deep end here. Okay. So, if I'm just building a user interface, right? I have an app that has my standard HTML in it that is the outside bits, just like you would have a base HTML inside of an Angular app or a React app or a Vue app, that contains all the links to go off and get the base CSS, the base JavaScript, and get things started. It hands off to a layout, and this is the first bit of Blazor controlled content that has the things that go around the outside of the actual content you want to run. I will absolutely give you, I am 3 files in before I get to the actual content of what's going to be my day-to-day application stuff. Yeah, sure. But if I want to work with a database and just fetch data and paint it on screen, like, right, that's where the weather demo shows kind of nicely here. Like, just like in React, put all your business logic to fetch the data down here. Like, I'm cool with that. The concern comes in, well, what happens when that stuff changes? Well, instead of getting it like this and having this class here, well, really, I'd like to move this out and put it in a separate file. So, here, let's put it in a separate file. Weather forecast CS, which makes sense. I think we can all kind of agree with that. That we like having our models in a separate file. And this, I don't want it in the pages. I'd really like that in a folder called something like data. So it's at a folder. Right, so here, put it over there. That's fine. Sure, adjust the namespace. There it is. Now it's called data. Yeah, it's not private. It's a public class. That's fine. So over here, this. Right, so I'm okay with that, right? I think we can all kind of agree that moving that out somewhere else. But, right, if this changes at some point in the future, and you can leave it here, there's nothing wrong with that. But what we all start to realize and recognize is whether you're getting it from the database or you're getting it from a microservice or something else, it's going to change at some point. So that's where architects and folks said, you know what? I really want to have an iWeather repository object interface, right? That is going to get forecasts. Move that interface somewhere else. And then I can move and call this my random weather repository. And these things that I was doing over here get moved in there. Oh, come on. So I see what you're saying of, well, your task from results. Why don't you like that? Give me a second here. Okay. So that architecture that you don't like, I've added a layer of architecture here. And look, what you're saying is not wrong at all, right? Because a lot of .NET folks, come on, iWeather repository. Ugh. This should probably be like that. And I want to say forecasts. Thank you. There is no date being passed in there. You got that wrong. That should probably be to array. Why don't you like that? Oh. There we go. So, right, to exactly your point, what the things that folks don't like. I've introduced layers of indirection here so that I've got my random weather repository. But what happens? No. But right, and I totally get that, right, folks kind of look like, that's the wrong one. That one. Right, and then there's this whole, well, you need to register a thing for that. Yeah, I get it. Add transient iWeather repository, and there it is. And now it still works and does the same things. But I've introduced those layers, and I get it. I totally get it, and I hear that from folks a lot who don't work in .NET. Oh gosh, look at all these layers and interfaces and things that you need to build. What do you mean? I.e. enumerable weather forecasts. Yeah, why didn't you like that? Hang on. Did I need to add that? I get it, right? You really only work in .NET when you're forced to. Build in WPF or Blazor, which is few and far between. So your job is Python and YAML. Okay, so you're used to dynamic all the things. What? Go away. But, which means you can then do and manipulate objects, and you can interact with them without having to think about the actual types that are underlying those. And you can also swap out implementations of things without any type checking, without any interaction that's going to tell you if what you built worked or doesn't. Because we have a compiler, because we have these types that are doing that checking for us, we don't have to wait and run the code and check to see if it works. We know up front whether those things are compatible or not. So if I change this in the future and I add a class, right, NOAA weather repository, right? I know this is another weather repository. I actually have to implement it, right? And I don't know. Sure. Well, instead, I might actually reach out to the NOAA. What's that? I forget what it's another weather organization. But if I was reaching out and using their service to fetch that data, right, now the dependency injection thing kicks in, and I can just swap that out. And it didn't hot reload the thing. No, I need to restart because I updated program. No, I want to restart. So those types of architecture decisions that you see that .NET folks make allow that type of swap out. You do type checking standards, right? But you have to add extra code to do that. It's built in over here. There. Now, if I had some NOAA data coming back, right? If I was actually fetching data. Actually, I could do that. New weather forecast. Oh, there you go. That's fine. Do that. I don't care. Hot reload. No. No. New weather forecast. Should have picked that up and identified it as. Why don't you like that? As enumerable. There it is. So I'm hard coding something, but if I was actually fetching it from there, right? So dependency injection in these patterns, and it's a very simple pattern, is something that folks pick up and really appreciate because of the volume of changes that we as enterprise developers typically see. So, yeah, it's bananas. I'm okay with dynamically typed languages, but I appreciate the static type better. There's folks that like them and folks that don't, and that's to each their own. You're welcome to that. Languages without null references, that's cool too. There's folks that like that. Bananas knows nothing about web frameworks, but you need to write some CSS yourself. Ask Copilot to do it, or ask Bing. Hey, Thindall. So dynamic typing has its place. I agree, Joker. It has its place, and it can help you get some quick things done better, faster than if you were doing it with strongly typed. When you are in larger applications, larger models, and you need to pass, and you need to do a major refactoring, the dynamic typing will at times work against you because you're changing objects, and the trickle-down effect of changing that object may have unintended effects. So patterns that you see folks with .NET use, like lots of interfaces and dependency injection, are to help mitigate those types of changes. And what it also does then, it allows us to test things. We can unit test various pieces appropriately because we're now composing the elements that make up our user interfaces instead of just kind of out there referencing and creating new content when we need it. It's the WD-40 of code. Little bit. So I think that all works the way that I need it to. I'm still got a break in here because it's still trying to go to the moderation hub. Well, we don't need a moderation hub now because we have a moderation service. So do I really need the repository here? Can I eliminate that as well? And I'm happy to have those discussions so that it makes sense. Where I want to get to and make sure is clear is that Blazor code that you see, folks are bringing those enterprise patterns into. You don't have to use them. That's all. So, right, I do need that because I'm going to reach into... Am I reaching into that at all? Hang on. I get the current blocked user count. That's it. I don't need that anymore. No. I don't need that anymore. No, I don't. I can just get my moderation service. I want to implement iDisposable on this also now. Implements iDisposable. More on that in a minute. So now down here, where I was getting that initial here. Oh yeah, this is better. Oh, come on. No, I don't need any of that stuff. I could just ask for blocked user count. Like that. So that I'm just copying the value across. Hey, Anoop. And keyed services are available too. I feel like keyed services are a little bit of an anti-pattern, but I do appreciate that there are things that other folks enjoy. Azure is so expensive you decided to leave it? Tell me more, Skylux. What was expensive? So listen for moderation content. Well, hang on. Get current moderators. Here we go. Right? Moderators right there. I can change that. Right? I can copy that in. I could say moderators equals moderation service. This doesn't need to be static. And no, let's make that. Yeah. And I want to set up a moderator's property here. Let's put it right up here. Public. Let's make it a new moderator, I think was the object, yeah. Boom. Yep. Yep. Oh, that's so good. So now I can just, from my moderation page, moderators. I made it. Do I really need it? I don't need it as a hash set, do I? I guess so. To hash set. All right. Let me see here. It's easy to get tripped up in your Azure service choices and scaling that it can get more expensive than you desired. You chose the wrong tariff and just launching the site cost you 80 euros. Oh my gosh! Yeah, something went wrong there. Yeah. I want to take that message back to some of my marketing friends, because that shouldn't be. Do me a favor, drop me a message either on Discord or Twitter. I want to follow up on that with you. Okay? Let me... I want to make sure that I follow up on that and see what I can do about it. Because you're right. That stinks. That's awful. All right, so I was down here. So where I was doing this listen for moderation content, we're going to update and do something a little bit easier here. Instead of connecting to SignalR, I don't need to connect to SignalR. I already have my moderation service here on the page. Let's implement the disposable. Disposable? Yeah. Oh, I need to do keyboard navigation in here also, and the filtering. Yeah, we'll get that wired up. I'll go down to the bottom of this. Public void dispose. Wow, that's not what I want. So I know who the current user is, right? Because I'm on a page. No, that's not right at all, Skylex. Excuse me. Yeah, Goku Jax, thank you. Appreciate you joining us. Where is it? I need to get information about the current user. Right? So, like, user manager and yeah, context. Say context there. And it just kind of knows what that is. Where did context? Oh, wait, the context is coming out of the authorized view. So, oh boy. I could put that somewhere and reach in and grab the user. Thinking. Because I want to get the current user. Oh, well, I'll have it. At dispose time, I'll have who the current user is. Yeah. What? It's not a claims. I should be able to say tags app user. I should be able to do that. This is so cheese what I'm going to do. I do need that. So I can get who the current user is. Now, there's got to be a way over here in, like, my account pages. Right? Like, not register. Manage. Ooh, this is my car. Ooh. Give me 1 second here, friends. Ah, yes, cars. What a pain. What a pain. So, looks like I'm going to need to get some repairs done. Fun. That'll be a treat. So, we shall see. We shall see. Oh, brother. Nope, didn't miss anything. Okay. Authentication state provider for this? Not quite. I can actually receive a cascading parameter, it looks like over here. Let me head back to the code. And then I need to wrap up and move on here, actually. I'm almost out of time here. I can receive the HTTP context and then go get that user. So I have that user information. So let's receive this inside my moderation page. I need the user manager so I can get who the current user is. So look at all the things we're receiving here. I don't need the authentication state, but I can receive the context and then use the user manager to get who the current user is, right? And I did receive that, yes. So I set up underscore user here. I can get who that user is, like that. There we go. So now I know who the user is on this page. So when I do my dispose, I could say moderation service, and I could say remove moderator. Right, this moderator isn't active anymore, and it's going to be underscore user email, right? Tags app user, which is an identity user, which I believe has an email, right? I'm not getting my auto completions here. Oh no. I think it's also the username. I thought they had an email. Right? Go back over to this. User username. Yeah, I thought the email was the username. Isn't it? No, it's server side. It's not WASM. So, yeah, I added display name. So, all right, so I'll change that to username down there. Right? Pain in my neck. Yeah, username like that. All right. So that'll remove. It's not going to jump through because something's broken with the code completion, the IntelliSense, the service on that page. So remove moderator. I feel like this should be like invoke async. HTTP context with the interactive server. It's not the same HTTP context as what you're thinking of. Right? This HTTP context, yeah, it's not going to jump to it. It's not going to jump to it. The HTTP context that the Blazor, this is coming out of, where did it go? Go into routes. It's coming out of authorized route view. And it has the user information and the information about the current signed in user. So, So that moderation page should be broken. Wow. Rebuild that, dear Lord. That looks awful. What the, did I break something? Do that again. Yeah, and then we'll call it a stream shortly after this. Holy smokes. Unclosed tag authorize. Moderation 130. Oh. I was going to do something stupid. But I didn't. Rebuilding. Okay, typer namespace name user manager. Right, I'm missing a using statement for that. I think it's this one. What? Don't need signal R now. What that? Hub connection. Yeah, I'm removing that. This stuff is all going away. So I'll just comment that out for the sake. Mm-hmm. 141. Yep, don't need that anymore. Something else broke. Moderation service does not contain definition for... I spelled it wrong. Yeah, see, I'm not getting IntelliSense on that. Like, that page just will not IntelliSense. I feel like I should close and restart Visual Studio. Maybe that'll get me there. Yep, built, worked. Moderation, and it's there, but... And it's listening to my moderation service, but there's nothing there. Because I don't have content yet. And I have an error. Moderation 151. Here. Really? I could debug this. There, it's got me. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Do you not have a user manager? No, not type of. Yep, it's there. It has a user manager. Go ahead. Rude edit because I didn't await in the middle of that thing. So it's got to restart, re-spin the threads. Yeah. So what's the object? Like, that was a thing. So if I do this, it's funny that worked. Oh yeah, Razor component IntelliSense. Yes, yes. Right, that worked. So okay. Nope, that broke. Rebuild. Try cascading parameters with the HTTP context. It works on the security page. But wait a sec, on the security page, where's it doing it? It's in uninitialized. And trying to find it. Bang. Same thing. Line 151. It's trying to do the same thing. HTTP context, user identity name. Do I need to move that out to on parameter set? Like, I don't mind moving it over to on parameter set. Protected override async task. On parameters set async. So rebuilding. Right, the cascading parameter hasn't been set yet is what's going through my head. Because we're on initialize, not the parameter set. Blazor server. Nope. 169 is not an object. That worked. But do I actually have a username? Yes, I do now. Ah. Let me close and reopen that page. Because that is a very complex page. Yeah, it's not doing the... Alright, so if I remove this, it should still work. Rebuild it just to make sure that I'm not doing anything stupid. Come on. And then we can put the moderators on the page. Right? for each moderator in moderators. Also, I haven't joined the moderators list. Right, so after... Yes. That's not right. It's just email display name. Error reading from the database. What happened there? It's null in on initialized. In the on parameter set, it does get set. Did WSL shut down? I think Windows Subsystem shut down just in the middle of us working. Come on. Memory leak. We didn't see this before. Restart Linux. That's weird, man. That's weird stuff. Like, it just times out after 3 hours and says, we're not going to do this anymore. Try and relaunch. Host CSHTML isn't going to have it because you're outside the Blazor application. Host CSHTML is still at the ASP.NET level where it's running. Inside your routes, you have an authorized. Hang on. Yeah. Let me restart this. Inside your routes, you have authorized route view. Authorized route view passes the HTTP context through. And the other thing here is, where'd it go? Adding cascaded authentication state passes that in. So. One second. Yeah. So it makes it available for everything. I think that might be a .NET 8 thing. Okay, so the database is now running. Restart that so that it reconnects to the database. Ugh. Restart. Come on. So there it is, running. Back to moderation. Oh! Oh, it showed me for a second. Right, so when we add moderator, that should add, and then it raises. Here's the yeah, that should have added. And then it notifies everybody, here's who it is. What if I do it in that order? Also, the top address bar is missing. But it's not picking up who the current moderators are. I don't have the event up. I don't have the event handling yet. Yeah, poof. It does the pre-rendering and then it renders and it's not doing it in the HTTP context in the on parameter set. It finds it. It has it. So I do need to stop. I'm going to check in what I've got right now. Let me wrap things up here. So, yeah, add all the things. Working on a new moderation service singleton instead of a SignalR hub. Like that. Push that up. It'll break some things and we'll figure it out, but we're almost there. We've almost got this ironed out. So, thank you so much for joining us. Let me see what else is going on. I've got a bunch of issues that I got to take care of now because I've got a car that is going to need some repairs in order to get inspected. Oh, it's a mess. So let me see who else is streaming on the big Twitch TV network. Who can I get you connected to? Looking around the horn. Oh gosh. You know what? We haven't seen her in a while. Let's go visit with our friend Alicia Griffin. There we go. I didn't spell her name right. There we go. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back on Tuesday with more live coding. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have a new episode of C# and the Cards out. And yeah, I'll see you next week. All right, friends? Have a great weekend. Say hi to Alicia for me. And until I see you next time, I wish you good health and good coding. Take care.